Twinema.
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 Twinema. Cinema. Twinema.
Cinema.
Hello and welcome back, dear listeners, on this lovely, lovely Valentine's Day episode of Twinema Cinema.
We're glad to be bringing you guys another Valentine's Day themed episode this year, and hopefully you enjoy this one even more than the last one.
And hopefully it'll be out, in the generally same vicinity of Valentine's Day this year.
It's gonna be close. I feel confident that we're gonna have it out a few days after, and from here on out, we're gonna be trying to stick to our every other week schedule of release, and so I feel like we're starting the year out right, and I'm proud of us.
Although, Joey, my dear brother, I feel like we may have bitten off more than we can chew for, this particular episode.
Oh, but what do you mean, Max?
Well, for this week's episode, we have chosen the risque movies of Striptease and... oh, Lord. I've forgotten the name of the other one. What is the name of the other one?
It is Showgirls.
Yes, Showgirls.
Paul Verhoeven's masterpiece, Showgirls. I'm assuming it's his masterpiece.
I mean, it's Paul Verhoeven. It has to be good. Usually.
Because I believe, much like last episode, neither of us have seen either of these movies.
More than likely, because when they came out, we would have gotten in so much trouble for seeing them.
But that's the exact reason why we would have been more motivated to see them. Remind me, Max, when did these movies come out?
These guys came out in 95 and 96. But they came out in that, 6-month window, so they were all pretty close together, and that's why we're counting it.
I think you are correct. I believe that would have been a little bit too early for either of our sexual awakenings. What, we would have been like, what, 7? 7 years old?
Give or take.
Maybe it's a movie that I remember hearing about, because I've still never seen them, but I remember hearing about it later. So maybe it was like, ooh, have you seen this kind of movie? Like maybe isn't there like some kind of crazy TV cut of one of these movies?
I could not tell you. All I know, frankly, is Striptease has a naked Demi Moore on the cover, and Showgirls apparently has a reputation for being just nuts.
I think, although I'm not 100% sure, that Showgirls is the movie that I'm thinking of that has some kind of a crazy made-for-TV edit that is just confusing. Because if I remember correctly, and we'll look this up for the second half, but I think they digitally put clothes on some of the actresses, which in the mid-90s, I can't imagine that that's going to look good.
I can't imagine it would look that good in many ways.
I think these viewings are going to be pretty fun, though, because both of these movies have, a reputation in my mind and also a reputation kind of in the pop culture. So I'm very curious to see what they're actually like, what they're actually about.
And that always is fun to bring us to our first segment of the show.
What can you remember?
And usually I throw you to the wolves for this type of segment, but I'm going to let you pick which one you want to describe.
Okay. Well, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to go with the one that I don't know even the slightest bit about. So that is Striptease. I know nothing about what this movie is actually about. But based on the cover, we've got Demi Moore as, I'm thinking she probably has a role as an exotic dancer or stripper. Maybe she starts out as that, or she decides to become one through the movie. I think that's probably the more likely situation, is she decides that she wants to or feels the need to become a stripper in order to earn some money, probably to take care of her family. Maybe her kid gets sick or a family member gets sick. Or even something as extreme as her husband dies, and so she takes to being a dancer in order to earn more of a living, probably on the side to begin with, and then decides that this is actually the route to go. And in the end, she falls in love with her work. No, I don't think that's what's going to happen, but it might. You know what? Actually, screw it. She falls in love with her work and decides that this is what she's going to do because she's improved her life dramatically, and this is who she is now.
All right. And, kind of following on your lead, I have a feeling that Showgirls is along those same lines. Maybe a slightly repressed woman looking for some extra money, looking to free herself somehow, becomes a Vegas showgirl and gets sucked into the Vegas lifestyle. It's like, she soon overdoes it. She falls in love with a client who takes her to the champagne room all the time, who, if I'm remembering correctly, is played by Kyle MacLachlan. All I know is they have sex in a pool, and it's really awkward. Let's see. What could be like a crazy twist to throw into this tale? Let's say, she gets involved in a trafficking industry of some kind, be it drugs or anything else.
Okay. I could see something like that happening. The crazy underworld of, because I think Showgirls takes place in Vegas, if I remember correctly, but I don't know if that's true. So the crazy underworld of the city comes to life.
But other than that, yes, I think there's a love story in either of these movies, which is, kind of why we chose this for the Valentine's Day episode. But yeah, we're also enticed because apparently there's lots of skin.
Oh, is there lots of skin in a movie called Striptease? Or a movie called Showgirls? Showgirls, I guess maybe, depending on the situation, you wouldn't think that. But from everything I've ever heard about it, it seems like there's a lot of naked people running around in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know about running around, but definitely strutting their stuff.
Ah, yes, true. Maybe they're not... It turns out that it's actually a bunch of former Olympians who are training for the Olympics and have decided that the best way for them to get in touch with their bodies is to run naked. And so it is actually a movie about women competing in the 100-meter dash in the nude.
I need to write this down. All right, well, we got our best bets in. We're going to sit down, and 4.5 hours later, we're going to watch the results come in, and we're going to figure out who got it closer, and if these movies are any good at all. And we're certainly going to be watching them in a bright room with the windows wide open so the neighbors know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like this is an appropriate series for us to watch with Mom. If we really wanted to, I think we could invite her to watch the movies with us.
You know what? That wouldn't be awkward at all. And let's do it.
I mean, she'd probably be game, though. That's the thing. Like, we shouldn't ask her because she would say yes.
I'm calling up Mom now. We're going to see if she wants to.
Oh, God.
Hey, Mom, we're doing the podcast. We're doing the podcast. Hey, do you want to watch a stripper movie with us? No?
No.
You're busy that night.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine.
You sure? No, we're not going to watch Ants again. All right, I love you too. Bye, Mom.
Love
Bye,
you, Mom.
Bye, Mom. Yeah, she doesn't want to.
So, without Mom, unfortunately, but we will be back in approximately 4.5 hours.
For this week's features, Striptease can currently be found on Netflix.
And Showgirls can be found on Cinemax and Fandango now.
Check them out. You know what's better than a good cup of coffee?
A free cup of coffee?
That's right. But what's even better is a metaphorical coffee. A cup of coffee that you, the fans, can gift to us, the podcasters.
And you can do just that at coffee.com/Twinema.
Think of it as a well-deserved pat on the back for hours of entertainment in inane babble we've given you. So visit coffee.com, ko-fi.com/Twinema. Thank you ahead of time. Cheers.
We take the cash, we cash the check, we show them what they want to see.
Okay, ladies, I got one interest here, and that's the show. I don't care whether you live or die. I want to see you dance, and I want to see you smile. I can't use you if you can't smile. I can't use you if you can't show. I can't use you if you can't sell.
There's a spot open in the chorus line. We're auditioning tomorrow morning. I think you should try out. I'm in a pretty bad custody fight. I can't still be working here when I go to court. Oh, yes, Your Honor. I've got a job. I'm working at the Eager Beaver.
You got more natural talent when you dance than anybody I've ever seen.
I need to get out of here and start living a normal, fully dressed life.
It's not fair.
It's not about fair. It's about power.
If someone gets in your way, step on them.
We had a good day, baby.
Why are you all shiny?
It's Vaseline. I can feel it squishing between my toes.
You're a stripper, don't you get it?
I'm a dancer.
Cream corn wrestling. You go into the corn. You set a great example to the other girls.
No.
And welcome back, listeners. Joey, I don't know about you, but I need a cigarette.
Having never smoked a cigarette in my life, this does seem like it could be an appropriate time. A lot happened in the last 4.5 hours.
Parentheses, don't smoke. Neither of us smoke, and we're cool.
Yes, we are indeed cool.
But yeah, that was an interesting double feature we just subjected ourselves to.
Once again, we're in a situation where these are two of the most dramatically different movies based on a slightly similar plot.
On the surface, yeah, I would say they are quite different, but underneath, it's quite the same. But of course, the underneath is exposed to become the surface because neither of these movies have a whole lot to them.
Oh, well, all right. I think the key element for me is that their story is similar enough and our characters are dealing with similar issues, but overall the story is incredibly different in both of these movies, even if our characters are dealing with similar types of issues.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
So let's cut to the chase. Which one did you like more?
Wait, what? We're not going to hold off until the big finale? The big number?
Yes?
I don't know if I want to tell you exactly which one I preferred, because know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tease you. Just a little bit. Make you wait for it. Until the end of the episode.
You know, that seems appropriate, both due to the subject material and that's the way I like it, man.
You like it because I tell you what to like.
No. I mean, sometimes.
But, know what I can do? I can get us into the similarities list, because, you know, this being a movie covered by us on this particular podcast, they're going to have some commonalities.
Absolutely. I think the first one that we want to rock with is, it's pretty straightforward, pretty obvious. It's kind of on the cover. It's kind of how both of these movies were promoted. Both of them have lead female protagonists, and both of those protagonists are exotic dancers.
And when dancing in their movies, their styles are wildly different than that of their co-workers.
They're the standouts at both of their particular venues. Let's see if I can remember the names of the venues. One of them is, the Eager Beaver in Striptease. And, nope, I can't remember the one from Showgirls. Do you know?
It was, the show was called Goddess, and it was at the Stardust Hotel and Casino in lovely Las Vegas.
Oh, well, that's later in the movie. That's not the club she's dancing at in the beginning.
Oh, it's something like Cheetah, the cheetah?
Oh, yeah, it's Cheetahs, which I imagine is based on the strip club, the gentleman's club here in Los Angeles called Cheetahs.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Joey.
Hey, I haven't actually been there. I've never actually been to a strip club. Well, technically I have, but I've never been to a performance at a gentleman's club.
I have not either.
I've only been there to pick people up and in the basement of the Northern in Fargo because there was a bar there. Is that place still open? I don't know. Somebody let us know.
I know, I feel like the asbestos would keep it from burning down.
Well, when you're the only show in town, you tend to stay open. That's just kind of how it works.
It's true.
Moving on from that.
Yeah, that's stuff we have in common, but the movies also have in common the fact that both of the main characters befriend black bouncers.
Like, you know, there's bouncers at every gentleman's club. It just really stood out to me that there are black bouncers at both of them, and that both of these guys become like their friends, who they're cohorts throughout the entire movie. They're not just side characters, they actually are secondary important characters.
Yep, you have Glenn Plummer and Ving Rhames playing either of them in Showgirls and Striptease. Although James, Glenn Plummer's character, I just couldn't stop seeing him as the guy Keanu hijacks in Speed. I just couldn't stop seeing it.
Which is so random. Like, I didn't recognize him from anything off the top of my head. I just kind of was like, this is a pretty good looking dude.
Well, the only other thing I know him from is Speed 2, because his boat gets hijacked in that movie. He does not have a lot of luck.
Does Sandra Bullock hijack his boat?
No, I think it might have been Jason Patric.
I don't even know who he is in that movie.
He's like the Keanu replacement, I think.
Ah, gotcha. So, discount Wish.com Keanu Reeves.
Because you should know who Jason Patric is. Because he's in Starship Troopers, directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also directed Showgirls.
Nice.
Bringing it back, because we went on a tangent there, or I did anyway.
Both of our protagonists do not want to be at the jobs that they are at in the beginning of the film. Each of them is on their own journey trying to get out of that life. They do not want to be an exotic dancer for the rest of their lives.
And to go with that as well, both of our heroes despise being called strippers. They prefer to be called dancers or performers in either case. And they're called worse throughout the movies as well. It's like professions that have nothing to do with them.
Not only that, it's just the entire world that they're in is just looked down upon by most people. And so it's used as this, or most of the characters in the movie, so it's used as this slur against them. And so it's just, they're even using it against themselves, specifically in Showgirls. She does not want to be referred to as a hooker. She does not want to be referred to as a whore, because those are derogatory terms for things that she has done. Because she has been a full-service sex worker in the past, because those are things that she needed to do to get by. If you're using that kind of language to speak down to somebody, it's a completely different thing than to referring to somebody what they actually do.
Right. And then, moving on over to lighter material, I suppose. Both of these movies have monkeys, or apes.
I completely forgot that there's monkeys in both of them.
And they're both running through the dressing room.
Exactly. What is it? Is it Shad's monkey, or is it just the monkey that lives in the dressing room and happens to like Shad?
I have to assume it's Shad's monkey, and it looks a lot like Marcel, or the monkey from Friends.
It probably is. It's in that same time frame. This is a very talented monkey.
She got a lot of work, I remember.
Friends, Striptease, Outbreak, all kinds of stuff.
And not only do we have similar mammals, we have the same actress as a dancer in both movies. Rena Raffel plays a co-worker of both Elizabeth Berkley and Demi Moore.
I did not know that, but that's pretty cool. I like when those kinds of connections come up, because it's something that you wouldn't expect, that in a movie in the same year you'd have actors or actresses in both of them, especially with such similar promotional material and stuff. So it's always fun when that happens.
Even better, Rena Raffel went on to star, write, and direct the sequel to Showgirls, Pennies from Heaven.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Straight to video, mind you.
Well, that'll happen. And then one of my favorite musicians happens to be in both soundtracks, Prince. Well, at the time, artist formerly known as Prince, but Prince.
Weirdly enough, we also have the owner of the strip club being portrayed in I want to say loving light. Like they're kind of scummy on the surface, but they're shown soft sides later on. So both of the owners of the respective clubs they're dancing at is a goof, I guess.
It's a bit of a difference as well, because one of them is clearly more professional. They both are likable in their own ways, but one of them I actually see as a good owner, and the other one I just see as not the worst guy to own one.
Which one is Robert Davi? Because he seems like he would own a strip club.
Which one's the tall and handsome one?
That would be Robert Davi in Showgirls.
Then that guy is not the good owner.
The one that was doing coke all the time and getting favors from his performers?
Yeah, I mean, if you consider trading sexual acts for work favors...
Poor wording.
I know you were using the phrase. I got it.
The Fratelli brother, yeah, he's definitely the lesser of the two owners. But
Wait, he's a brother?
well, the Fratelli brothers in Goonies.
Oh my God, I forgot. Oh, I didn't even remember he was in that movie.
The only way that Striptease could be even better is if Joey Pants was the other owner.
That he actually could have crushed that role.
Oh, absolutely.
Moving on from our beloved actors from the Goonies, each of these movies actually was filmed where the movie takes place in story.
We got Striptease. All the locations were in Miami, Florida, and Showgirls, they actually filmed in the Stardust Casino in Las Vegas.
I didn't know they filmed in the actual same casino. I knew they filmed in Las Vegas, but that makes it even better. I like it.
And then just rattling off the last couple things we got, both of the movies clock in at over 2 hours, which is probably at least 20 minutes too long.
Both of these protagonists are blackmailed at some point using their past history to get them to do things that are a little untoward.
Last, we got children in the dressing room.
It's a pretty common thing that you see in a lot of movies, right? That the children need to come to work with their parents. It actually happened in an episode of Superstore I was watching recently. This is also the beginning of one of our main differences in these movies, is that the child, or the children specifically, in the dressing room in Showgirls are the children of another one of the performers, where the child in the dressing room in Striptease is Demi Moore's daughter.
The presence of Demi Moore's daughter, actually her real daughter, by the way, Rumor Willis.
That was Rumor Willis?
Yeah.
She crushed it.
She was good.
In my mind, I've always thought of Rumor Willis, no offense, Rumor Willis, I mean, some offense. I've never thought of her as a particularly great actress. I've always thought of her as, I guess I've never really thought of her as an actress. I've always thought of her as Bruce and Demi's child. So the fact that she's in this and she crushed it, she's actually great, startles and surprises me in the best kind of way.
Yeah, and then the kids in Showgirls are kind of a non-entity, except for the fact that their presence triggers kind of an advance of the plot where one dancer yells at the kids to shut up, and the mom gets angry and then, kind of sabotages the other dancer.
Yeah, that scene is brutal. It doesn't quite make perfect logical sense in how the whole scene unfolds, but nonetheless, it happens. One of our dancers, the mother of those children, throws, I think they're like beads or marbles out onto the floor so that our other dancer ends up getting severely injured on stage while performing as a retribution.
Yeah, it's like a masterclass in geometry too, because she gets it in the exact right spot just so the male dancer holding that other dancer steps, slips, and breaks her leg.
Well, I don't think that's completely unbelievable. They know the choreography. They know where he's gonna go. So that's not too terrible. But the fact that things go that horribly awry, maybe she wasn't expecting her to completely break her knee and they were just expecting her to fall. But either way, it worked. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge difference between these two movies. There is some violence that occurs in Striptease. A lot of it's off-screen and a lot of it's more threatened. Where in Showgirls, there's a significant amount of violence on screen, and the whole movie itself is just darker and more brutal in tone.
Nomi, Elizabeth Berkley's character in the movie, pulls a knife on a guy immediately, the first thing in the film.
He did kind of deserve it.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I'm just saying as far as how these movies are going to turn out, that's the first thing we see.
The second character introduced is threatened by the first character introduced with a knife. That's what happens when you pick up a hitchhiker and you try and get them to using Max's terms, give you a favor in terms for the ride. I think you deserve to have a knife pulled on you.
That could be another similarity too. Dudes are assholes.
Oh my god. In both, I guess both movies do start out with that kind of a premise, that kind of a truth to it. Because in the beginning of Striptease, the very first scene of that movie, we see a judge giving custody of Aaron Grant's child to her drug addict criminal husband instead of to her. And in doing so, references how good of a tailback he was. Like, it couldn't be more ridiculous. And then because of its ridiculousness is also just horrifically depressing, because there's no way that hasn't been how that unfolded at some point in someone's actual life.
Well, also, it's just kind of Robert Patrick just playing this goofy bad guy.
Robert Patrick's character in Striptease is basically, he completely changes the tone of the entire movie. Now, the movie is a little bit ridiculous. It's a fun ride, but as soon as you add in some of his elements, it hits this level of farce. And I think, especially if you include his role in the finale of the film, in the climax of the film, it couldn't go any other way. It's so farcical that it becomes absurd, and I think that's one of the things I really, really enjoyed about Striptease.
Yeah, that's one thing I thought about it too. It's like, this movie under better direction could be a Coen brother movie. This is Raising Arizona levels of goofy at times.
I think that there are moments of this movie that are just excellent. But it's a little uneven at points, but it is very, very funny. And I think that's something that definitely separates the two movies as well, is that I found Striptease to be very, very funny. For me, Showgirls is just, there isn't any humor in that movie for me. I didn't really find it funny. I found it mind-boggling, and so I guess there's a little bit of humor in the absurdity of everything going on in that movie.
Yeah, that is a main difference for me too. These are two different types of movies. Striptease, definitely made to be a dark comedy, and I think the comedy in Showgirls just comes from how straight they play it, so much so that it becomes hilarious only after the fact.
I could see that, because in Showgirls, it's not an absurdity of the plot, right? It's an absurdity of the performances in the movie. So it's more that these people in the movie are being almost, it's like an over-the-top level of acting, but they're not doing it for comedic effect, they're doing it for a serious effect, and it's not working, and that makes it comedic. There's even this great line in the movie that kind of explains itself, where James, the bouncer that she befriends earlier, says that when he first meets Nomi at a dance hall, or did I say dance hall? Am I a 75-year-old man? At a dance club in Las Vegas, he says to his friend that she thinks she can dance. And that, to me, kind of just explains the whole movie, is these people think they're doing a great job when in fact they're not. And I feel like Paul Verhoeven knew that the whole time.
I'll take that one level further too. I know Paul Verhoeven is a good director, and he is a master of satire and subtlety, and I think he directed this whole movie on purpose to this effect, essentially directing a big budget soap opera. And that's what he's getting from these characters. They're not performing it correctly, but I think he gets his purpose correct, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It's such a weird movie, right? Because it falls into the category of so bad it's good, but at the same time, it's really good. I don't understand it. So it's like if The Room was directed by Ridley Scott. That's what it feels like.
Even adding more to what I previously added more to, this is also a sports movie.
A sports movie?
Yes. Think about this. If Nomi is the main athlete, her entire journey is exactly the formula for a sports movie.
Is this just Rocky, except in Vegas with Showgirls?
So much so that the rookie, eventually gets the chance to shine, and of course, they take their shot.
This is such... You're pretty spot on. This is an unexpected revelation, Max.
And even that, just add some scratches to the film. This is a grindhouse exploitation movie from the 70s. So there is so many layers to this movie, it's ridiculous, and it's still a huge question mark.
There is so much going on in the movie. It does feel overwhelming at times, and I think we're giving a lot of credit to the filmmakers here. Whether they 100% deserve it or not remains to be seen, but it feels very intentional in what everything is done. And so you're overwhelmed as our characters are overwhelmed, but there's just so much happening. Like you said, it's very much like a soap opera. There are so many plot elements that are intertwined, and that's actually a commonality between both movies. There's a lot going on. In Showgirls, it's more. There's more, and I think one of the things that makes Showgirls different is that our leads, our actors, are all choosing to keep their poker faces. They're choosing to be more hidden in their agendas. It's not all on the surface. Striptease, all the bad guys are pretty straightforward. They're pretty bad guys. They're not pretending to be anything else. And that actually leads to one of the best characters in both of these movies, which is Burt Reynolds as, I forgot his first name, but Congressman Dilbeck in Striptease.
I almost didn't recognize him because he didn't have his mustache.
I didn't recognize him until the second time we see him. When he's originally in the club, I didn't recognize him at all. Those glasses and everything. I could see why they believed this disguise could work, because I didn't recognize him, and it's Burt Reynolds.
And he's basically playing a Looney Tune in the whole movie, and it's wonderful.
It's so ridiculous, but the thing that makes it so amazing is that he does actually have to turn it on for the cameras, right? Because he's a congressman. So whenever he's public facing, he does just flip the switch, and he's a completely different character. He's a psychopath. He has the ability to go from one thing to another with no moral repercussions at all. He does not care. And that makes him so fun. I mean, the moment when he's completely covered in Vaseline, like I had read something about him being covered in Vaseline beforehand, and I was like, oh, so there's going to be this crazy Vaseline sex scene with Burt Reynolds, right? That's what I'm anticipating in Striptease. And it's so much better than that. It goes in a direction I could not have anticipated, and it was beautiful.
Now, it's probably my favorite Burt Reynolds line. It's like, wait, you're telling me you've never covered your entire body in Vaseline?
It's such a good line.
And he isn't even the only all-star in the movie. Ving Rhames is legit hilarious.
I would say both of these movies actually have excellent casts. I would say Striptease has more bigger names in it than in Showgirls, but Showgirls has a really solid supporting cast throughout. But yes, Ving Rhames as Shad is a standout because of how much he cares about the women who work at the club, how much he specifically cares for Aaron, and how much of a good guy he is just trying to get by with his weird-ass shenanigans with the yogurt. But he's also just a fucking badass. He's fun. He's a very fun character.
And in Showgirls, you got Kyle MacLachlan in full David Lynch mode, just being a scumbag.
Yeah, he's awful.
He tries playing the good guy to Nomi, but then he just calls up the guy who propositioned her not a half hour ago, chews him out, and then calls him back and says, hey, you son of a bitch, get back up here.
Yeah, exactly. He pulled the move of firing somebody, but not actually firing them, just to impress somebody else. He's a scumbag. He's like, I was watching and looking at him, specifically at Kyle MacLachlan. I'm just like, this guy reminds me of somebody. And I figured it out right after the movie. He is evil Chandler Bing.
Oh my God, the haircut and everything.
He's just evil Chandler. It's really weird when I put that connection together, because it's like, son of a bitch, he's the same guy, just evil.
Could he be any more evil?
Yes, he could. I mean, he's pretty bad. He's really bad, actually, especially when you fast forward towards the end of the movie where there's a horrifically violent rape scene, and he just decides to cover it up because, you know what? Money.
That is like easily the most disturbing thing in the entire movie, and there's a lot of weird stuff in this movie.
That one puts it over the top. Is it necessary for the plot? I really don't think so, but at the same time, it does really drive home how horrific these people are and how much they don't care about the dancers, about the performers. And I think that's actually another good point to differentiate the two movies, is that in Striptease, it does seem that most of the characters do care about the women that they work with and that work for them. They're not trying to take advantage of them. They are their employees. In Showgirls, that is not the case at all.
Oh yeah, it's cutthroat.
At every possible turn, the men and some of the women are taking advantage of the others around them just to get ahead. And Molly, who is Nomi's friend, who's probably the best person in all of Showgirls in terms of the things that she does nothing wrong at any point. She's only there to help people. And then she's the one who ends up getting raped. Like, it's awful. It's just awful and brutal, and I'm not happy that I watched that. It really completely changed the trajectory of my feelings on the movie. It's one of those things that having that kind of a traumatic scene in a movie, if it doesn't change how you view the movie as a whole or your viewing experience, then you have a problem.
And then, yeah, Striptease had the sense to reshoot the ending of theirs because it originally ended with an attempted rape by the congressman. And, yeah, they reshot it because the test audiences didn't go for it.
I feel like that was the right choice for a number of reasons. Number one, we like Burt Reynolds as a character. We like Dillback. He's a piece of shit, but we like him. Although it is insinuated throughout most of the movie that he is real handsy, that he is probably a rapist, if not a rapist and murderer. So the fact that they don't actually show that on screen, I think was a smart move to make us like the character more. Although all signs point to, yes, he is that person, so I understand why they would have originally shot that.
It was a good move for them because, as you would have it, Striptease went on to make a lot of money, and my fancy segue for
History, facts, and box office.
Striptease made lots of money and a lot more than Showgirls did.
Oh, really? I mean, I didn't know for sure, but after watching both of the movies, one of them I understand why it would make more, and I'm not at all surprised that it was Striptease. So, hit me with the numbers, Max. What do we got?
The first one that came out was Showgirls in September of 1995. It was made for $45 million. I can see it. The money went into everything, maybe not the actors. But it made $20 million domestically and $7,000 internationally. So
7,000?
Yeah, just under 21 million worldwide. So this was a bomb.
$7,000. Why did they even count that? Was that just one theater in Germany?
It could be. It could be faulty information too. But it did not perform overseas, if at all. It was probably like a festival.
It just made that much money at one festival, like the Berlin International Film Festival. I like it.
Could be.
I think that's our reason. That's it. That's where that $7,000 came from. Or one person who bought out a theater for an entire week because he just wanted to watch it by himself.
Fair.
All right, well, what are the numbers on Striptease then?
Well, Striptease made $33 million domestically and $80 million internationally. So
Dang.
113.3 worldwide on a $50 million budget, most of which went to Demi Moore. She got $12.5 million to take off her top, essentially.
That is a lot of money.
It is indeed.
Especially then, because what was this, 95, you said?
Yes, this movie came out in June of 96, but it was made in 95, so there we go.
That's a lot of money. And I didn't expect it to be that successful, but hell, one of the things that I was realizing watching these movies, I realized that I really only know Demi Moore from 3 things. I know her as Bruce Willis's ex-wife. I know her as G.I. Jane. Side note, great movie. And I know her from Striptease. And why do I know her from Striptease? From a movie that I've never seen. It's pretty much because of the cover and like the culture and the notoriety behind it. So it makes perfect sense that that movie made serious money.
It's even better because the producers of Striptease offered her more money, so she shot this first and then went on to do G.I. Jane. But when she had to come back for reshoots, she had already shaved her head, so she had to wear a wig for the rest of it.
Nice. So wait, G.I. Jane's like that same time frame? Is 96 the year of Demi Moore?
Yeah.
Fucking way to go.
I think G.I. Jane was 97, but I think it overlapped.
Awesome. Well, Max, now that we got the box office, I gotta know. All I know about these movies is that they were not critical successes. That's like the number one thing I know about Showgirls, is that people didn't like it. Tell me, What did the critics have to say about these?
Well, Striptease made way more money and actually was profitable. It was savaged the worst by critics. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 11% critically, audience score of 24%. Metacritic has it at 37, and there is no user score for that. And you got Showgirls, easily a bomb. In fact, it won a Razzie for Worst Film of the Decade, including as well as the year it came out. And fun fact, Paul Verhoeven accepted the Worst Director Razzie himself.
Good old Paul.
But Rotten Tomatoes, 23%, 37 audience, and Metacritic has it at 16 out of 100 and user score of 2.6 out of 10. But I did not look at this, but I have to assume the score for Showgirls has improved in the interim because it has become a cult phenomenon, essentially. Especially in the wake of a documentary that was released a couple years ago called You Don't Know Me. It's become like a Rocky Horror Picture Show type of movie.
There's a documentary called You Don't Know Me?
Correct.
About Showgirls?
Uh-huh. I thought it was like 99 cents to rent on Amazon, so I'll have to check that out at some point.
I want to see that.
It's a legit phenomenon now, like The Room, weirdly enough. But even now I'd say, yeah, Showgirls is the better reviewed of the two.
That doesn't surprise me either, because I don't know the filmmakers behind Striptease, but also Striptease doesn't seem like it's trying for anything more than what it is. Showgirls definitely feels like it's reaching to hit like some kind of art house critical status. And so that's also what makes it so unique in this weird way. It feels, it's like a train wreck, but you can't look away from it. And at the same time, it's beautiful. It's this really weird movie. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And I also, for some reason, didn't think it to be as bad as it is in certain moments. It really, it both surpassed my expectations and failed to live up to them at the same time. It's a confusing movie.
Almost the same kind of thing, but not really with Striptease, is it's a legit funny movie, but I don't think it's good. There's some goofy-ass characters and some Dave Barry kind of esque satire happening, but it's just kind of weird.
I think Striptease is in this really strange world. I'm going to put 3 exotic dancer movies out there, and we've got Magic Mike, we've got Showgirls, and we've got Striptease. In terms of seriousness, I would put Showgirls as the most serious, Magic Mike as the middle, kind of a middle ground. It's serious and ridiculous at the same time. And then Striptease is not serious for most of it. It's taken very much more as a comedy. And you look at all 3 of those movies, and you look at these, and Magic Mike has kind of like the same flow as Striptease. I think there's a lot more dancing involved in it, in terms of actual performing in their club, in terms of actual screen time, that is. And I don't know where I'm going with this anymore, Max. My brain just lost it, so I might just cut this whole segment.
Oh, please don't, because I know exactly where it's going, and it's going to who we determined to be the...
Winner, winner, who's the winner?
And Joey, I didn't even realize it before, but you hit it on the head. Like, I know exactly who the winner of this thing is, and I didn't even realize it before, because you know what? The winner is Magic Mike.
Okay, why is the winner Magic Mike?
Because it is the blending of 2 movies, good parts and bad parts. And even if we don't actually count Magic Mike, we probably shouldn't, in all honesty, but my conclusion for these movies is something I've never done before. It's a draw.
Really? I am surprised, but what I was trying to say, which I think I'm glad you got it, and hopefully our audience gets it as well, is like Magic Mike is in between these two. It has more performing, it has more serious nature, it has more comedy, but that's what makes each of these movies so dramatically different, is that they're on different ends of the spectrum. If you were to try to bring either one of them closer to the middle, they would be worse for the wear. So I think they really do work pretty well for what they are.
The reason I draw is because the good parts work, the bad parts don't, though, and they are different in that case. You have Paul Verhoeven trying to do his beneath-the-surface soap opera movie, but it doesn't work, honestly, the way it should. And you have Andrew Bergman making Striptease a legitimate comedy, and it's not a good comedy. So all of it just kind of mushes up and ends up right in the middle at half, so it's a draw for me.
I gotcha. I have an outright winner for myself, and that is Striptease. I enjoyed the hell out of Striptease, and I think that's part of the thing for me, is that Showgirls, in many ways you could argue is a better made film, and perhaps even is arguably a better film, although it has a lot of downfalls. Specifically, the acting is pretty bad in a number of parts, especially for Elizabeth Berkley, unfortunately. Sorry to call you out like this, but in the beginning of the movie, her performance is so over the top that it's really hard to handle. But it's not even just her. It's just there's so much over the top performance in that movie that it is infuriating. But it does settle down, kind of settles into itself, and then really starts to kind of hum along at a good pace. But it's not as fun. I'm a sucker for fun movies. Striptease is fun. The subplots are fun. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's farcical. I love it. I loved moments of that movie. And Dilbeck is like a perfect example of that. He's so completely over the top. He asks his his flunky to go get dryer lint from Demi Moore's dryer so that he can smell her essence.
Oh, he fucked that lint. You know he did.
Yeah, he does. when she asks him point blank what he did with the dryer lint, he's like, well, obviously I made love to it.
Obviously.
It's such an amazing... Like, that's what that movie is. That's why Striptease is the better movie. If I was going to recommend one to watch, it would definitely be Striptease. Now, is it groundbreaking in any way? I don't really think so, except for you could definitely make the point that it paints dancers in a much more positive light than Showgirls does, and probably than most movies that deal with dancers actually do. It paints them in a pretty positive light. And we gotta compare something here that I think we've been dancing around a little bit.
I see what you did there.
There's a significant amount of nudity in both of these movies. Showgirls, obviously, way more. There's an NC-17 cut, I believe, of both movies, actually. Or no, an unrated cut of Striptease, but an NC-17 version of Showgirls. And deservedly so. There's a lot more brutality, a lot more nudity. There's very little, if any, nudity in Striptease that's not topless, if I remember correctly. I don't think there's anything where the performers aren't wearing any underwear. And if there is, I don't remember it. But
wait, there was nudity in your movies? Both of mine were 45 minutes long.
Yes, but I think one of the things that they do a really good job of in both of these movies is that it's just kind of a part of the characters. It's not. I don't know how to say this in a way that makes sense.
It's not stigmatizing in the workplace. Like, nudity is a part of their life, and they don't shy away from it.
Yeah, well, there's that, but also I think in terms of like the cinematography and the way that these are filmed, I don't feel that it's overly sexually filmed, which is weird in certain moments that are very overtly sexual, but it doesn't feel like it's filmed in that kind of a way. There isn't these extreme close-ups on women's bodies. It's all more from perspectives, and I really liked that. And also, I think Demi Moore's dancing is better. That's what I'm saying. I think in terms of who's the better dancer, Demi Moore. That's my pick.
I think she also has more fun with it, too. Like, there's a scene where she's dancing naked in front of a mirror, and it's fun. Elizabeth Berkley just kind of looks like she's spasming.
She is very, very serious about dancing, which, there's nothing wrong with taking your business and your dancing seriously. She does have fun in the one moment, I guess, when James meets her. But Demi Moore is shown to be having a little bit more fun doing what she does. Even in that dancing moment, where she's dancing in her own apartment, I really respected and liked that moment because she is naturally not wearing a lot of clothes, and that scene isn't shot sexually in any way. It's just shot showing her dancing. Yes, at some moments you do see her topless, but that's how you would be in your own home dancing. And I liked that. It's a thing that bothers me in a lot of television where people are illogically covered up. Like, you would never actually be covered up this way if you were just done getting out of the shower or if you were just changing or anything. In Striptease, they actually just showed it. They just showed people being real.
Yeah, it's like the infamous L-shaped sheet in every bedroom in TV.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
It's like you see the top half of the guy, but the girl's completely covered.
It's weird, it's TV, we get it, but in Striptease that wasn't the case, and I really appreciated that.
So there you have it, Striptease, kind of with a 1.5 win, I guess. But let us know what you think. Please like, subscribe, all of our socials media. And thanks for joining us for another episode.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out next time. We love you.
We love you. We love everyone. Please wear a mask. Exotic dancing is work. Sex work is work. We'll see you next time. For the next episode, get your tap shoes on and your surfboard ready. For the next episode, get your tap shoes on and your surfboards ready. We're already wearing our Damn it. Okay. I got it this time. I swear to God.
I believe in you.
For the next episode, get your tap shoes ready and your surfboards on. Wait, no. Get your tap shoes ready and your surfboard on. Damn it! I hope you keep this in there. For the next episode, get your tap shoes ready and your surfboard waxed. We're already wearing our tuxedos, and we're ready to go. That's it.
Can you do it one more time?
For the next episode, get your tap shoes on and your surfboard waxed. Get your best suit ready. We're already wearing ours. Tuxedos, that is. And we're getting ready to hang flipper. It's like, wait, no, that sounds darker than I meant it to be. Oh, God! It's like they're surfing, but we flip.
Murdered a dolphin.
Oh, God.